Hey guys, what is up? It is No Help and welcome back to another video today. So today we got two new little updates right here. One is the Tsar Essence mine, which is the most interesting one. And then we got some pole, AD, TOA changes, and dead man mode tweaks. Alright, so let's take a look. The Tsar Essence mine. The humble blood rune, a sought after catalytic rune whose consumption allows the casting of ancient magics, the swooshing of the scythe of Vitter, and whatever word beginning with S suits the Sanguinesti staff. The blood rune has a whole host of fun uses, but in recent years has come under fire from players for just how tedious it can be to accumulate enough of these magical stones. Currently, most players trying to upkeep their Scythe or Sanguinesti staff opt to buy them from the Grand Exchange, magic shops competing with each other as they hop through worlds in desperate bid to stock up enough for future PVM sessions, while so-called Shopscape is the done thing. Shopping and hopping isn't exactly the most riveting content. That is true. For a while now, we've seen affected players suggest the addition of rune packs for some of the runes that don't currently have them, like Blood, Death, Soul, and even Astral runes. While we agree this would alleviate some of the frustration with upkeeping some of these runes, you'd still be competing with others, hopping through worlds, and spending more time in the shop interface than out in Gielinor. So we think we can do better than blood rune packs. After all, we have a whole skill dedicated to crafting runes. Why don't we leverage that? We've done similar in the past with the Drew's Sandstone Grinder, which gave the players an option to use mining to cut down on shopping and hopping for sand. And this is honestly one of my favorite updates, to be completely honest. Helps a lot for Ironman crafting. Ultimately getting the item that they're after while being out in the world, so long as they have the GP to afford Drew's services. To that end, we've set out to make something with the following goals in mind. Allow players to obtain blood runes extremely quickly. As a bonus, expand the system to runes beyond blood runes while making sure all of the above goals still apply. Avoid impacting the economy for any non-iron players. Players should be financially disincentivized from engaging with this content if their aim is to sell the runes on. Ensure that the gameplay is thematically tied to rune crafting. Ensure that the gameplay loop itself is quick, intuitive, and easy to access. With all of the above in mind, let's introduce the star of today's show, the Abyssal Attractor. So Ventriculus the Abyssal Attractor. The name might be a bit of a mouthful, but the aim couldn't be simpler. Ventriculus is a part of our design to give players a fast way to get runes, any kind, not just blood runes, that's tied to gameplay and integrated with the runecraft skill without adversely impacting the main game economy. I don't know how they'll do that. Before we get started, you might be wondering where we'd even put the attractor itself, given that somebody would likely have noticed something so unusual by now. As luck has it, some of you have recently uncovered a new area with strong ties to runecraft, the Scar. Note that access to the Abyssal Attractor you will require at least partially completion of Desert Treasure 2, The Fallen Empire, since you'll require access to the Tsar in the first place. Accessed via the rift near the Temple of the Eye, which you might be familiar with. The Guardians of the Rift minigame, the Tsar has a habit of sucking in leftover runes and essence from careless adventurers who drop the things inside the Tsar. Interesting, I like that little bit of lore there. These leftovers move through the tissues, resulting in a lot of runes, essence, and flesh that defy the laws of nature. The abyss itself grows around these, so you'll need a spot of manual labor to split them apart and extract anything useful. That's where the mining comes in, and our proposed gameplay loop begins. I really like that, one, it has a bit of a higher requirement, so you need the Desert Treasure 2 partially completed, and I also like the lore aspect of it, where like everyone in that minigame drops the runes, right? So I guess it sucks them up and then other players can mine them. That is so cool. Okay, so the gameplay loop, let's set a scene with a very high tech flowchart. Okay, so I guess where do we start here? With tainted essence to the extractor, choose the function, and you can either make pure essence obtained, choose a type, pay GP, and extract obtained. I'm a little confused. With a little mining expertise, level 66 mining to be precise, a pickaxe, and a lot of putting your back into it, you'll be able to mine tainted essence. These are grotesque mixtures of runes, essence, and flesh that we've mentioned earlier. From here, you have two options. We'll start with the most interesting bit, making extracts. By removing the wrong runic energy and compressing what's left, extractor can provide you with extracts that are bound to specific types of runic energy. These stackable extracts function as catalytics, while rune crafting, allowing you to craft significant bonus quantities of the rune they're corresponded to. A spot of mining in eventual exchange for huge quantities of extra runes sounds like a pretty good deal, so what's the catch? The catch is Haggis, a member of the ZMI, Zamarok, blah blah blah, who wound up lost in the abyss and now is put bluntly, utterly unhinged. Haggis has his heart set on returning from his adventure with loot worth losing his mind for. He knows ventriculus better than anyone, and he'll let you use it, and you guessed it, for a price. We'll cover the extract cost later on in the blog, but for now, keep in mind that these extracts don't come free. Okay, so that's good at least. There's even a handy coffer nearby where you can store your coins so you don't have to grab them from the bank every time. So it's going to be like similar to Blast Furnace, I'm assuming. Alternatively, you can clean your tainted essence and stack up large quantities of pure essence, approximately 10,000 pure essence per hour. Haggis appreciates that many of you out there groan at the sight of pure essence following a showdown with the Great Olm, or that some of you even leave behind the pure essence that Zulrah so graciously provides to be consumed by the toxic waste. Obtaining pure essence in this way won't cost you anything. Haggis knows that you'll be more than willing to part with your GP once you process that essence into extracts. Here's playing the long game. Okay. Oh, he's playing the long game. Okay, so you can use tainted essence to make extracts which serve as powerful catalysts for runecraft. Simple. Okay, so let's just take a quick look at this. So you get the tainted essence. You can either turn it into warped, twisted, mangled, or scared extracts. And then the ventriculus goes in and out. And then you will, I'm not really sure what the bottom is saying here, but I get the first part. There are 4 variants of these extracts: warped, twisted, mangled, and scared, with different variants catalysting different groups of runes so that every type of rune in the game can be multiplied using one of the extracts. Crafting runes with the corresponding extract in your inventory will multiply the amount of runes you make when using essence, rune, pure, or Dayalt. To runecraft, note that the extract's catalytic effect won't work at the Ellinia altar. They'll only work at specific targeted runes. On the face of things, it's pretty simple system to understand, so let's get stuck into the nitty gritty and answer the big question you probably have at this stage. How many runes can I craft per hour using extracts, and how much will it cost? Okay, so balancing. Before we get stuck into the numbers, let's make clear what we're up against. In a perfect world, the players who've been asking us for blood rune packs for all this time, in theory, could obtain 100,000 blood runes per hour at current rates. This isn't entirely realistic due to delays when hopping worlds, finding the NPCs to trade with again, competing with other players, also buying the same runes as you, but it's a solid ballpark. With that in mind, runecraft with extracts obtained from Tsar Essence mine needs to result in a hefty number of runes while remaining expensive enough that players would incur a net loss by selling the runes to each other, thus pricing these bonus runes out of the wider economy. Okay, that makes sense. understandably, it doesn't really make sense to put something like this together for only blood runes. Players can at times need vast quantities of all kinds of runes for all kinds of goals. So we've aimed to put together a system that applies to every rune, and at the price point that makes sense for each of them. While the main problem we're trying to solve here is the sheer amount of time spent upkeeping weapons like the Scythe of Vitor or the Sanguinesti Staff for some endgame players, by expanding extracts to all types of runes, you'll be able to put your skills to use and have some time gathering chaos to self-retackle, or perhaps even stock up a whole bunch of trident charges early on in the game. That's amazing. So the prices for extracts are all based on currently existing shop prices, with exceptions for wrath runes and combination runes, since these aren't sold for GP by any NPCs, though we've aimed to ensure the cost per rune for these types remains higher than their well-established value on the Grand Exchange. So to explain how the 4 types of extracts are going to work and tie into this, here's a handy table. Okay, so this is the extract name, the extract cost, the bonus runes, and then runes used for. Okay, so the Mangled Extract, 12,000 GP, 200 GP per rune, and this will make Nature, Law, Astral, and Death, right? If you look at it this way, I don't know if any of these runes right now are even close to 200 GP, so it's not going to fuck the price of runes or like screw the economy like they were saying. But for players like Irons who need a lot of extra ones, an extra 60, that is awesome. I think that's pretty cool. And then we've got this one right here, the Scared Extract, 24,000 GP. This is for Blood, Soul, and Wrath runes. They're a little more pricey, but not even close to 400 GP per rune. Twisted Extract, 6,000 GP, and then that's 100 GP for a rune. This is for like Chaos, Cosmic, Lava, and then the Warped Extract is only 5 GP per rune, but that's for the Air, Water, Earth, Fire, Mind, and Body. This will be extremely helpful, honestly, because I always am running out of like Air and Water runes, right? So to get an extra 250, it's insane. Sticking with blood runes as an example, obtaining the Scared Extract from the extractor would set you back 24,000 GP, assuming you have no other bonuses, no blood essence, no raiments of the eye. Using 1 pure essence on the blood altar while having a Scared Extract in your inventory would give you 61 blood runes in total. If you had 27 pure essence and 27 Scared Extracts, you'd end up with 1,600 blood runes in total in exchange for the 648,000 GP you would have spent on the extract. Okay, it's coming together. Keeping that example in mind, it's pretty easy to imagine how quickly you'll be able to stack up runes using extracts, assuming you have the GP to obtain extracts in the first place. Now these bonus runes are applied actively, meaning that the bonuses you get are on top of modifiers like the Remnants of the Eye effect or Blood Essence. We reckon players will be able to obtain roughly 25,000 extracts per hour, assuming they have the cash to afford them all. With 25,000 extracts, we anticipate that speedy players using the so-called True Blood Altar could expect to craft somewhere in the region of 200 to 250,000 blood runes per hour, depending on the other factors like the use of giant versus colossal pouch, or how quickly they would be able to complete runs. While things like the Remnants of the Eye or Blood Essence do increase the number of blood runes a player might obtain, the difference is relatively low since these bonuses stack adequately. Of course, making 25,000 Scared Extracts would set a bloodthirsty player back a whopping 600 million GP. Selling these blood runes on to other players would result in you losing roughly half of the GP you spent to make the runes in the first place, and this is how we keep these vast quantities of runes from entering the main economy. Okay, I like this a lot. So you're free to sell them on if you like, but you'll wind up losing absolutely massive quantities of GP to do so, and nobody enjoys losing huge quantities of GP for no reason. Now, these extracts aren't exclusive to blood runes, though we imagine those are what most of you reading are interested in, but also extend to other players too. Perhaps you're looking to stock up on fire runes and never have to worry about your trident of the swamp charges ever again. You'll be able to net somewhere in the region of 1.5 to 2 million elemental runes in an hour if you like, assuming you have the funds. Are you spotting a recurring theme here? Other methods like the Abyss rune crafting will result in somewhere ranging from 150,000 to 200,000 of your chosen rune per hour, while using extracts at the Karen blood and soul altars will net you somewhere in the region of 80 to 90,000 and 50,000 to 60,000 bloods and soul runes per hour respectively. Okay, so I do like the Tsar Essence mine. It's basically a way for, say, Ironman players to get quote-unquote unlimited runes of their choosing. It's also good because it's not going to ruin the economy because it's going to cost you, say, double the price to craft these. And it's also going to take GP out of the game to buy the, whatever they're called, the SARS or Essence or whatever they are, use the extracts. It's going to cost you money, and that's going to be money coming out of the game. That's how I see it right now. So it's a good update. Other than that, there was some TOA changes. So the lobby deposit box. So we've added a deposit box next to the helpful spirit, which functions as a regular deposit box. Just shove your unused supplies in there, and they'll go straight to the bank. That's awesome. If I was still doing TOA, that would have been very helpful. They've also added a deposit pickaxe. So you might also deposit and retrieve your pickaxe in the lobby, which is awesome. So you don't have to go into that one room to retrieve it every single time and then store it every time. Just annoying. Also, they finally changed the Akka phase. So in the Enrage phase, he'd teleport to a new location after a fixed amount of hits. Even if you've missed, this resulted in a bit too much teleporting for our liking. So we've made it so that Akka will only now teleport after a certain amount of successful hits. So I think it's 3, I believe. So you would hit 0, 0, 0, he'd teleport. But now you can say if you miss a couple, you can hit as many times as you want until you get those 3 hits, which is awesome. And for the Pyramid Plunder, I think they finally changed it now, so the rates are at the following. So pretty much in room 1, it's a 1 in 4,200 chance to get the scepter, but if you are in, say, room 8, it's 1 in 650, which I believe they made an update where they made it so that the higher rooms it was a lower chance. So I don't even know why this took so long to come into the game. These should have been the proper rates from the beginning. This is to prevent bots from just going to room 4 and then just looting them all, hoping for a scepter and leaving. So this is good. This is really good. And then it rewards the higher level players. So to room 7 and 8, 650 chance to get a scepter. That's awesome. Overall, I'm actually a big fan of this update, especially since now runes are always very annoying to get, especially on an Ironman account. They could go out of the game so quickly, especially trident charges at lower levels like they were mentioning, and I can imagine the blood runes going crazy if you have a scythe or a sanguinesti staff, and you don't want to spend hours upon hours upon hours crafting these runes. This is a great solution for Ironman accounts. Rune prices have already hit a very low rock bottom in my opinion from the Guardians of the Rift update, and just they've been trying to make blood runes a lot easier to get for a very long time now, and I feel like this is a good solution that will actually cost players a lot of money so that you won't be able to make the rune prices go any lower, you know what I mean? So yeah, even if you were to sell them to Ally or something like that, it's not going to be you're not going to profit from it. So I think this is a very, very good update. But anyways, thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See ya later.